Hello dear viewers, welcome to Academia EduConsult, your one-stop portal that teaches you everything you need to know about the English language. In this video, we are going to be looking at adjectives, and here we go. In our table of contents, we're going to be looking at what an adjective is, how to recognize adjectives, and finally, how to form adjectives. Let's begin by asking that important question. What is an adjective? Adjectives are words that describe or give more information about nouns or pronouns in a sentence. In other words, adjectives describe the quality of nouns or pronouns in a sentence. Take note of that. They give us more information about nouns or pronouns in a sentence, or they describe the quality of nouns or pronouns in a sentence. Adjectives limit the words they describe in some way by making them more specific. For instance, the addition of green to car limits car as a noun, since that has excluded any other car by any other color. So when you say a green car, it means that car has been limited to that quality green. Adjectives tell us something about the color, size, number, quality, or classification of nouns or pronouns. Take note of that. Adjectives, they tell us something about the color, the size, the number, the quality, or classification of a noun or a pronoun. Let's see some examples of adjectives. You can have words like red curtains, jet black hair, brownish eyes, tiny feet, large houses, massive estates, 6 children, 10 questions, 25 yards, happy people, delicious meals, mechanical engineering, nuclear weapons, modern languages, Victorian era, and so on and so forth. Words that come before a noun are referred to as modifiers, while words that come after a noun are called qualifiers. Some people will say an adjective qualifies a noun. Yes, you are right. But more specifically, words that precede an adjective are referred to as modifiers because they modify the noun. While some words come after the noun, those words are called qualifiers. So both modifiers and qualifiers are adjectives. Let's go on to look at the recognition or formation of adjectives. How do we recognize an adjective, or how do we form an adjective? Through the addition of suffixes. A suffix is a kind of a morpheme that is added at the end of another free morpheme. We're going to work on the morphemes that we have in the English language, where we'll give better explanation on that. So you can recognize adjectives through the addition of suffixes such as able. For instance, we have words like probable, available, laudable, remarkable, palatable, palpable, calculable, insatiable, and so on and so forth. We have the addition of suffix al that can make you know that any word that has that structure is an adjective. For instance, national, international, economical, statistical, chemical, functional, mathematical, ecumenical, irrational, cynical, comical, mechanical, and so many other words in that category. You can also recognize an adjective when it ends with a suffix ful. For instance, hopeful, wonderful, meaningful, careful, beautiful, fruitful, tasteful, useful, faithful, bashful, boastful, lustful, and so on and so forth. You can also recognize a word to be an adjective if it ends with the suffix ble. For instance, edible, possible, flexible, gullible, visible, feasible. Please take note of those two words, visible and feasible. Don't confuse them. They do not mean the same thing. When you say something is visible, it means it can be seen. It is evident to the eye. But when you say something is feasible, it simply means it is possible or plausible. It is capable of being achieved or put into effect, or it is reasonable enough to be believed or accepted. So do not confuse those two words, visible and feasible. Let's go on to see how to recognize adjectives. You can also recognize adjectives by the addition of the suffix ish to any word. For instance, foolish, smallish, sheepish, youngish, bookish, childish, roundish, girlish, boyish, babyish, churlish, and snobbish. You have so many other words in that category that you can form yourself. Another way to recognize that a word is an adjective is when you have the suffix ous added to such a word. For instance, porous, generous, tedious, industrious, meritorious, ridiculous, ludicrous, garrulous, loquacious, pretentious, religious, judicious, salacious, and so many other words in that category. Another way to recognize that a word is an adjective is the addition of the suffix an. For instance, Nigerian, Kenyan, African, American, Ethiopian, Estonian, Algerian, Canadian, Bolivian, Malaysian, Ghanaian, Armenian, and so on and so forth. Another way to know that a word is an adjective is when you have suffix less, that is less, added to such a word. For example, you have words like listless, brainless, restless, hopeless, wireless, penniless, meaningless, thoughtless, sleeveless, tactless, and so on and so forth. In addition, when you see the suffix ive added to a word, that word is most likely an adjective. For instance, you have words like invective, submissive, inventive. Take note of those words. Invective is different from inventive. You have words like attractive, intuitive, impulsive, resistive, educative, correlative, repulsive, imitative, retentive, and so many other words in that category. Last but not the least, let's look at suffix ic. When you see the suffix ic added to a word, that word is most likely an adjective. Let's go on to see examples. Terrific, ballistic, bombastic, artistic, rustic, drastic, classic, elastic, iconic, exotic, dramatic, aerobic, panegyric, dyslexic, and so on and so forth. Any word that you see with all these suffixes that we have listed is an adjective. Let's look at them. Suffix able, suffix al, suffix ful, suffix ple, suffix ish, suffix ous, suffix an, suffix less, suffix ive, and suffix ic. Any word that ends with any of these suffixes is an adjective. Let's look at how adjectives are formed. Adjectives are formed from nouns. When you know what a noun is, then you can know that adjectives can be formed from a noun. Let's see some examples. Attraction is a noun. How do you form the adjective of an attraction? Then you change the suffix. Attraction becomes attractive. So let's go on to see these examples. Nigeria, Nigerian. Dyslexia, dyslexic. Meaning, meaningful. Industry, industrious. Baby, babyish. Child, childish. Retention, retentive. Ridicule, ridiculous. Danger, dangerous. Ghana, Ghanaian. Boast, boastful. Wind, windy. Star, starry. Anger, angry, intelligence, intelligent, ease, easy, virtue, virtuous, luck, lucky, pain, painful. There are thousands of adjectives that can be formed from nouns. Remember, we said adjectives belong to the open class. In our discussion in the video on the parts of speech, open class means they are open-ended. You can't count how many words that are referred to as adjectives in English. They are open-ended. Let's go on to see how adjectives are further formed. Adjectives can also be formed from verbs. For instance, you have verbs like enjoy. Enjoy is a verb. How do you form an adjective from that word enjoy? You simply add a suffix that will turn that verb to an adjective. So let's go on to see these examples. Enjoy, enjoyable, help, helpful, sadden, sad, quicken, quick, please, pleasant, persuade, persuasive, permit, permissible, observe, observatory, participate, participatory, anticipate, anticipatory, move, movable, invent, inventive, instruct, instructive, injure, injurious, inform, informative, indicate, indicative, impress, impressive, force, forceful, harm, harmful, disturb, disturbing, and so many other adjectives that can be formed from verbs. Lastly, in this video, let's look at adjectives that are formed from other adjectives. You can also form adjectives from another word that's an adjective. So we can derive sickly from the word sick, even though both of them are adjectives. So let's see some other examples. Red, reddish, yellow, yellowish, correct, corrective, elder, elderly, comic, comical, classic, classical, historic, historical, electric, electrical, magic, magical, fantastic, fantastical, poetic, poetical, and so on and so forth. So in this video, we have looked at what adjectives are, how to recognize adjectives, and how to form adjectives. In our next video, we're going to continue to talk about functions of adjectives and so many other things that you need to know about adjectives. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and to drop your comments and to share this video. See you around.